The world of AI is moving just incredibly fast, isn't it? It feels like there's this constant balancing act between amazing new capabilities and, well, basic user control.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's really what we're digging into today. We're taking a deep dive into Google's newest thing for Gemini, their AI assistant. It's called temporary chat.
Right, temporary chat. And the big news landed, what was it, August 13th, 2025. Google officially rolled it out inside the Gemini app.
That's the date. Yep.
Okay, so let's really unpack this. At its heart, temporary chat seems pretty straightforward. It's for conversations you don't want hanging around.
Mm-hmm. Ephemeral.
Exactly. But here's the really crucial part, I think.
Mm-hmm.
These chats, they're not saved in your history. And maybe even more importantly, Google says they are not used to train their AI models. That feels like a pretty significant shift, right?
Oh, it truly is. And what's interesting here, this isn't just some minor tweak. It feels like a major step toward boosting user privacy.
Yeah.
And it really hits on those concerns we've all been talking about, about data management with AI.
Yeah.
And if you connect it to the bigger picture, it kind of sits alongside their other features, the ones meant to personalize AI based on your past chats. So Google seems to be aiming for this balanced ecosystem.
Like they're saying, we can be smart and personalized without remembering absolutely everything forever.
Precisely. It's like offering a choice.
That idea of a balanced ecosystem, I like that. That really captures what we want to explore today because it connects directly to, how you, the listener, interact with AI every single day.
Right.
So we're going to look at the context behind this, what it means for privacy, sure, but also just for usability, and of course the challenges Google might still face down the road.
Well, looking at the context, Google's whole strategy with Gemini, they've always talked about making it more personal, proactive, and powerful, but they've also stressed giving users control.
Okay.
So this update, it feels like it's about building trust, using transparency, flexible options.
Yeah.
It signals a kind of maturing approach to AI ethics, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's worth remembering, this isn't happening in a vacuum. Competitors like OpenAI, Anthropic, they're also pushing forward with their own memory and privacy features. So this is definitely a key move in a very competitive space.
It really is. But does this put Google ahead, or is it more like they're catching up, adding a feature that rivals might have had in some form already? What's the unique Google angle here, if there is one?
That's a good question. I mean, yes, some rivals do have temporary modes, but Google's push here feels like a very public statement, almost a commitment to a principle, maybe trying to rebuild some trust, given, past discussions around data.
Right.
This feature seems to stand on, three main pillars: empowering your privacy, boosting usability, and naturally refining the AI itself.
Okay, let's say privacy first.
From a privacy angle, the idea is you can ask sensitive things, or just brainstorm something random, maybe a surprise gift idea, or drafting a tricky email without worrying it'll stick to your profile forever.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It directly tackles those ethical questions about data storage, and it aligns with regulations like GDPR in Europe, CCPA here in the US, which really push for more user control.
So on the usability side, then, it's about making Gemini feel less like a permanent record keeper.
Yeah.
More flexible.
Exactly that. If you're just throwing ideas around or asking some really niche one-off question you don't need linked to your usual interactions, this lets you do that without thinking twice.
Okay.
And it works alongside other updates, like that personal context feature, which does let Gemini learn from past chats if you want it to give better responses later.
Right. That's the opt-in personalization.
Yes. So the goal is this AI ecosystem that's smart and helpful, but not invasive unless you allow it. And yeah, there's definitely a competitive angle too. Google wants to close any gaps with ChatGPT and others, get more people using Gemini on Android and the web.
Speaking of adoption, let's get into the development timeline a bit. Gemini launched back in December 2023, this big multimodal thing: text, code, audio, images, video.
Right, quite the splash.
And then less than 2 years later, boom, August 13th, 2025, this updated Gemini app with temporary chat built right in. And it's easy to find.
Yeah, they put a button right next to new chat, apparently. So no hunting through settings menus.
Good. And just to be crystal clear, these are really one-off chats. They won't show up in your recent history, not in your app activity log.
Correct. But that raises a key question, doesn't it? How temporary are they really, beyond just not being in your visible history? Because not stored can mean different things, technically.
True. What does it mean here?
Well, according to Google, the interactions are kept on their servers for up to 72 hours.
Okay, 72 hours. Why?
It's apparently just for processing the conversation itself and, importantly, collecting anonymous feedback on how well it worked. Crucially, they state it's never used for personalizing your results later and never used for training the models.
Ah, okay. So it's a technical necessity for function and anonymous improvement, but walled off from personalization and training.
Exactly. It seems like a pragmatic compromise. They get aggregate performance data, you keep your core privacy for that specific chat.
So that 72-hour window is like a careful balancing act, allows back-end improvement without tying that specific chat back to me for future stuff. That makes sense.
Hmm.
And this temporary chat sits alongside that personal context feature you mentioned, which does use past chats if you turn it on, like the example they gave if you talked about comics before. Gemini might suggest comic-themed party ideas later.
Right, but only if personal context is active.
Yeah.
And you can apparently toggle that on or off easily in the Gemini app's Privacy Hub. So the control is there.
That transparency seems key. From a technical standpoint, what's powering this?
It's running on their Gemini 2.5 Pro model initially. They plan to bring it to 2.5 Flash 2. Implementation-wise, it meant some careful changes in data handling. For instance, they clarified that starting September 2nd, 2025, a sample of uploads, like files or photos, might be used to improve services if you have Keep Activity turned on. But crucially, temporary chat interactions are completely exempt from that by design.
Okay, good distinction. And the rollout.
It's staggered, starting in certain countries first, then expanding. Standard practice, really. Lets them test, get feedback, make adjustments.
Yeah, that phased approach probably helps iron out bugs. And going back to the competition, this does feel like it helps Google. ChatGPT has had temporary chat options. Claude from Anthropic focuses on limited memory.
True.
And Google did face some heat before about permissions maybe being activated automatically on Android sometimes. So these privacy steps seem like a direct response.
Very likely. They also updated controls for audio and video in Gemini Live, keeping those off by default. It really does look like Google is trying to listen and lead with trust now.
Yeah, it feels like a maturing approach, as you said. Integrating innovation with safeguards, not seeing them as opposites. Okay, but it can't all be smooth sailing. Let's talk about the road ahead. What are the challenges facing temporary chat?
Well, first off, that gradual rollout you mentioned. While it makes sense technically, it could definitely frustrate users in regions who have to wait. Communication will be key there.
Managing expectations, yeah. What else?
Another big one is just the complexity of data controls. Think about renaming things like Gemini Apps Activity to Keep Activity. It sounds minor, but clarity is crucial.
Right, people might get confused, maybe leave something on they meant to turn off, or vice versa, leading to accidental data retention they didn't want.
Exactly. There's a risk there. And even that 72-hour retention window, while short, still presents a potential, if perhaps small, cybersecurity challenge. That temporary data could theoretically be a target for breaches.
That's a tricky balance, isn't it, between function and zero risk? And what about the AI itself? Balancing personalization in the main mode with privacy requires really smart algorithms to avoid biases creeping in from the data it does learn from.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole regulatory landscape. Google has to navigate very strict laws, especially in places like the EU, where using any data for AI training is under a microscope.
Right, GDPR and things like the AI Act.
And finally, just the sheer pace of competition. They need to keep integrating features like this into hardware, maybe smartwatches, things like that, without making it clunky or hard to use.
So overcoming these hurdles will need ongoing work, listening to users, working with regulators.
Definitely. It's an ongoing process, not a one-and-done launch.
So let's try to pull this all together. To recap our deep dive, the launch of temporary chat back on August 13th, 2025, really feels like a significant moment for Gemini.
I think so. It looks like a genuine attempt to balance AI advancements, particularly personalization, with strong privacy guards. It's a direct response to users wanting more control.
And the so what, the bigger impact. This move potentially positions Google as, well, a more responsible player in the AI space. It could build trust, maybe make Gemini more appealing in sensitive areas like, say, education or business.
Right. It reinforces the idea that you don't necessarily have to trade privacy for convenience. You can potentially have both.
Though, as we discussed, challenges remain. That gradual rollout, the complexity of settings, the security nuances of even temporary data, navigating regulations, keeping up with rivals.
For sure. Those are all real factors they'll need to manage. It shows a clear direction towards user-centric AI, but the execution needs to be consistently refined.
So it leaves us with a final thought for you, the listener. With features like temporary chat, AI is clearly becoming more adaptable. It's responding more to your needs, offering clearer control over your data. What does this changing landscape mean for how you will choose to use AI going forward? And how will you keep managing your own digital footprint as these tools get woven even deeper into our daily lives?